Just 500 years ago, we used to believe the sun revolved around the earth. Heck, some people still believe the earth is flat. We once held the belief that diseases were caused by evil spirits, and there was a time when sending messages through the air would have been considered witchcraft. What I'm trying to say is that throughout history, we have had some pretty wild ideas, right? But as wacky as they seem now, they were the real deal back in the day. And that's the beauty of human progress. We learn, we adapt, and we evolve our understanding of the universe. So, why are we so quick to dismiss the idea of aliens? I mean, given the vastness of space and the ever-growing universe that we live in, isn't it a bit ignorant to think we are the only living beings here? And if there really is some extraterrestrial life, what are the chances they have never visited us? But no, I am not going to convince you on the basis of reasoning or logic. I am here with proof. In this series, I will state the facts, tell you about the sightings, the government operations that have been kept hidden from public eyes, and by the end, you will see how UFO conspiracy theories are not just conspiracy theories. So, let's get started from the day it all started. On June 24, 1947, a private pilot, Kenneth Arnold, was flying above Mount Rainier when out of the blue, he spotted 9 shiny objects coming towards his aircraft. These strange flying things were flying at speed Arnold believed was 1,200 miles per hour. Just to put that in perspective, that's like 3 times faster than any plane back then could fly. Now, while Kenneth was trying to wrap his head around what he was seeing, over in Richland, Washington, a guy named L.G. Bernier saw something strange in the skies too. He reported spotting 3 of these mysterious objects flying toward Mount Rainier around the same time Arnold had his close encounter. Coincidence? I think not. Then over in Yakima, Ethel Wheelhouse claimed that she saw high-speed flying objects in the sky. And the creepy thing is that the time Ethel saw these objects was the same as Arnold's sighting. The fact that these sightings were at the same time raises many questions. What added more credibility to these claims is that on the same day, many people in Seattle claimed to have spotted these speedy discs darting across the sky. If it were 1 or 2 people, we could have disregarded the claims, right? But there were too many from the same city who saw these flying objects. 10 days later, a United Airlines crew that was flying over Idaho had a similar experience. They saw flying objects in the sky that matched Arnold's description following their plane. After Arnold's sighting, the floodgates opened. Reports poured in from every corner of the globe, describing these bizarre, saucer-shaped crafts. This led to the use of the popular term, unidentified flying objects or UFOs. And just when people were thinking things could not get weirder, happened the Roswell incident. This infamous incident later became one of the biggest government cover-up stories, which is why it is crucial to our series of conspiracy theories. Let's see what really happened there. Roswell UFO sightings. In the first week of July 1947, a rancher named W.W. Mac Brazel was present some good 75 miles northwest of Roswell in New Mexico. When passing the field, he found some mysterious wreckage on the Foster Ranch. This was not your standard issue ranch debris, but something out of the ordinary. There were metallic fragments, rubber strips, and strange paper-like material. Brazel was aware of all the UFO buzz, so he decided this wasn't just any crash site. He thought maybe he had found something extraterrestrial. So what he did was report his find to Sheriff George Wilcox instantly. The sheriff then called in Major Jesse A. Marcel from the Roswell Army Airfield. Marcel sensed the gravity of the situation and inspected the debris both at the sheriff's office and the crash site. The military got involved, and surprisingly, the Army Air Force issued a press release claiming they had recovered a flying disc. This statement sent the media into a frenzy because for the first time ever we had evidence that we are not alone in the universe and someone from far beyond has visited us. Then happened the most suspicious thing. Almost as quickly as the story broke, it deflated. The military retracted its statement and claimed what was found was merely a weather balloon. The quick reversal, the planned responses from the officials, and the whisking away of the debris only ignited the suspicion. People are not fools. They knew in the very instant that the government was covering something up. For the time being, they managed to hide all the evidence and cover the real story. However, decades later, in 1987, something else came up related to this incident. British ufologist Timothy Good revealed a document that clearly stated that some group known as the Majestic 12 was tasked with investigating and allegedly concealing the truth behind the Roswell debris. According to the document, what the Army retrieved from the crash site was not just an aircraft, but a dead body of a being not from this world. That's all that we know about this incident for now. We can only speculate from here. However, this was not the end of peculiar UFO sightings. UFO sightings and continued cover-ups. During the Cold War, it seemed like the government might have decided to act as a buffer between us and whatever otherworldly things were zooming around in the skies. From 1947 to 1969, over 12,000 UFO sightings were reported. This is when the infamous Project Blue Book happened. This project included a top-secret team that had one mission: to figure out if these unidentified flying objects were just fantasies or a real threat to national security. So, even though the government knew someone was visiting our planet, they just were not ready to admit it and share the fear with the public. But people keep their eyes open. They see things. On August 21st, 1955, in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, something strange happened to the Sutton family and friends. Billy Ray Taylor went out to get some water, and when he came back, he told his friends in the Sutton family that a mysterious object was gliding silently over their home. Of course, everyone thought Billy Ray was just pranking them until they saw it themselves. The family saw a small figure glowing in the dark with a head too big for its body and hands that looked like they were talons. The creature's eyes were yellow. The Suttons did what any reasonable person would do. They grabbed their guns. But even as they fired, this little man just flipped and vanished like a ghost. The next day, the cops took over the place and searched it thoroughly for any sign of evidence. Unfortunately, they found none. However, how is it possible that the whole family had the same explanation of the event? Their details were consistent with each other. But instead of believing the Suttons, a self-styled paranormal investigator on the site gave a laughable explanation. He claimed these terror-stricken folks were just mistaking owls for alien invaders. Come on, since when do owls have glowing eyes and humanoid bodies? We might have believed this explanation given by the so-called expert had we not received any more sighting claims. But we did. Yes, guys, the sightings did not stop. Over at Skinwalker Ranch, things have been anything but normal. This 500-acre property has turned heads for decades, becoming infamous for bizarre happenings. We have received stories about crop circles appearing overnight, cattle found without a drop of blood, and stories of a massive wolf-like figure that is not affected or killed by bullets. Now, you might think, okay, strange, but is there more to it? Because this does not feel alien-like yet. Well, there sure is. Robert Bigelow is a Las Vegas real estate businessman, and he always had an interest in UFOs. He purchased the ranch for $200,000. But why? The rumors of paranormal activity caught his attention, which led him to buy the property. After Robert, the ranch was resold multiple times, and ultimately, it became a research center for unexplained activities. One strange thing happened on March 12, 1997. At that time, the ranch was under the watchful eyes of Bigelow's National Institute for Discovery Science. That night, biochemist Colin Kelleher spotted an enormous humanoid creature watching the facility and the team from a tree. It was as spooky as it could get, but this isn't it. Adjacent to the ranch lies Bottle Hollow, a 420-acre reservoir on Ute land. In 1998, a police officer witnessed an enormous light diving into the reservoir, only to shoot back out and vanish into the night sky. And no, it was not an illusion. It was a UFO. Now, if you think these are the only incidents that have ever happened that point to the existence of aliens and UFOs, you are wrong. Our history is filled with such stories, but we don't know about them because they were stopped from being publicized. From NATO's exercise main base sightings in the North Atlantic to the vanishing F-89C Scorpion jet pilot in 1953 and the mysterious lights over Lubbock, Texas in 1951, the reports just keep coming. Scientists, military personnel, and civilians alike have all witnessed things they cannot explain. You might be tempted to dismiss all this as mass hysteria or elaborate hoaxes, but when you look at the sheer volume of reports from credible sources across different times and places, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? And if you are still with me and want to get your mind blown, let me tell you about a place in America that is allegedly the headquarters for such government cover-ups and extraterrestrial research. Area 51 is present in the middle of the southern Nevada desert, and believe me, it is the stuff of legend. This clandestine spot stretches across 90,000 acres. It is so secretive, in fact, that the US government only admitted it existed in 2013. But why all the mystery? Well, the place is wrapped in layers of classified activities. The stories around Area 51 really started in 1989 due to a guy named Robert Lazar. The man claimed to have worked on extraterritorial technology inside the base. He said that he has seen autopsy photos of aliens and that the US government examines otherworldly spacecraft in this facility. Though later it was revealed he might have lied about his employment, but the damage was done. Area 51 had cemented its place in UFO folklore. However, even if we put Lazar's claims aside, the air around Area 51 is filled with mystery. Why all the secrecy, you ask? Officially, it is a testing ground for new aircraft and such technology. But come on, the level of secrecy has us all raising our eyebrows. Is it mere national security, or is there something more out of this world? So, while the government may keep insisting there is nothing out of the ordinary going on, the continuous stream of unexplained phenomena begs to differ. Is it all just a series of coincidences, or is there something more secretive going on? I'll let you be the judge of it. But when I tell you about this next weird thing that happened recently, you will be inclined to believe something outworldly is trying to interact with us. You see, the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant is in Japan, and it has been the site of one of history's worst nuclear explosions. The explosion happened after a devastating earthquake and tsunami back in 2011. Now here's where it gets crazy. In all the chaos and destruction, while the land around was ravaged, a nearby temple stood untouched. Not one scratch to it. But that's not even the weirdest part. The temple's monk reported seeing UFOs after the explosion. He claimed that the unidentified objects were there to tackle the radioactive chaos, almost like they were trying to fix our mess. But hold on, because Fukushima is not an isolated incident. Dr. Jensine Andresen is a doctor of philosophy who cited some declassified files of the FBI and CIA. She found a pattern that is hard to ignore. According to her, from the 40s through the 90s, there were 39 UFO sightings around nuclear sites. This includes Kirtland Air Force Base, Sandia Labs, and other places where the government keeps nuclear weapons. She also cited the peculiar event that happened at Malmstrom Air Force Base in Montana in March of 1967. Robert Salas was a missile launch officer there. He used to control over 10 nuclear missiles. But one day, when his fellow officers told him about some UFO sightings around the area, he found out that he had lost control over the 10 nuclear missiles. It was a strange coincidence, wasn't it? Then something else happened in the 1986 Chernobyl disaster in Ukraine. At the beginning of the fire, the radiation levels were 3,000 milliroentgens. This was too much and would have caused destruction of unimaginable levels. But then, multiple witnesses reported that they saw a UFO appear over the blazing reactor that emitted a beam of light for 4 minutes into the number 4 reactor and disappeared. Remarkably, radiation levels plummeted from 3,000 milliroentgens to a significantly lower 800. If that's not meddling from afar, I don't know what is. So, what does all this mean? Are these incidents mere coincidences, or are we looking at some intergalactic fire brigade that is saving our lives? It is surprising to think we have got cosmic guardians, right? But not all UFO encounters have been like that. People have been abducted, so not all encounters have been good. And guess what bogus explanations were we given by the government about these horrifying events? Stay tuned for the next episode where I will reveal these secrets and go down the rabbit hole of government explanations. Till then, keep your eyes on the skies and your minds open. This has been Accessunknown. Keep searching for the unknown.